Well, hello and welcome again to our reading of Matthew's Gospel and our reading of the Greek New Testament, and we're about to start chapter 2. So this is the visit of the wise men. Tu de Iesu genethentos in Bethlehem tes Iudaias in Hemerais eroidu tu basileus idu magoi apo anatalon per egenon to es hierosoluma. So we get nice genitive absolute at the beginning. Jesus is the subject going to the genitive, and the verb is genao, and we've got an aorist passive participle here. So Jesus, having been born in Bethlehem of Judea, en Hemerais, in days, literally, but we would say in the days of Herod the king. Idu, behold, this is again a slight Hebraism, although expressions like this could be used in classical Greek as well, so it's one of those things where it's an overlap between an Hebraic usage and Greek usage. So behold, Magoi, these are the Magi. These are mentioned by Herodotus as being from Media, part of the kingdom of the Medes and the Persians. So they were probably Zoroastrians who had an interest in heavenly bodies and astrology. So behold, Magoi apo anatalon. Now, it's literally from the risings. This is from apotellomai. So from the risings, i.e. the risings of the sun, hence from the east. And that's why it's in the plural. So from the directions of the rising sun. Per egenonto, they arrived, they were present in Jerusalem. Legontes puestin hot tekthes basilius ton Iudaion. Edomenga autu ton astera ente anatole kai elthomen proskunesai autoi. And they were saying, where is the king of the Jews, Tekthes, having been born, who's just been born? This is an interesting form here. The form of the verb appears only here, or this form of the verb appears only here in the New Testament. It's also occurs in Luke chapter 2, verse 11. So the fact that Matthew and Luke both use this form may imply that they've gotten this from some other document that they may have had in common, because the pericope here only occurs in these two Gospels. We don't get mention of this in either Mark or John. So tekthes, it's from tikto, with the verb we've seen in the first chapter of to bear. Tekthes is the aorist passive here. So where is the king of the Jews? Where has he been born? Edomenga autu, for we know his star in the Anatole, in the east, and we have come proskunesai to worship him. Akosas de hopabasilius heroides apotarachthei kai passa hierosoluma metautu. And the king, King Herod, when he heard this, etarachthei, this is from tarasso. Tarasso is to disturb, in any sense whatsoever, to disturb, and this is the aorist passive here. So was disturbed, was troubled, was worried. Kai passa hierosoluma metautu, and all Jerusalem with him. Now this is an interesting form. It's a very rare form of this noun here. This is normally treated as though it was a neuter plural, and here it's being treated as though it was a feminine noun because of passa here. So all Jerusalem with him. Kai sun agagon pantas tus archies kai grammates tu lau epun thaneto parauton pu ho Christos genatai. And so this is from sunago participle. This is the aorist participle. It's agagon is the aorist, and this they're using the unaugmented aorist root. So this is having gathered together all the chief priests and scribes of the people. He inquired from Punthanamai, middle, inquired from them, Pu ho Christos genatai, where the Christ is born. We would say is to be born, but it's just is born. They said to him in Bethlehem of Judea, Hutos garge graptai dia tu prophetu, for thus it has been written through the prophet. And now in verse 6 here we get a quotation. This is from Micah 5:2, but it differs fairly markedly from the actual Septuagint text. And you, Bethlehem, land of Judah, that's a genitive there. It's sometimes called a Doric genitive, often occurs with this particular noun, so this is a genitive. Land of Judah, Udemos elakiste a entois hegemosen Judah, another genitive here. In no way are you, this is a from the verb to be, second person singular, are you least among the rulers, this is the dative plural from hegemon, so in no way are you least among the leaders of Judah, for exu, for from you, hegumenos, one leading, so I think in context translate this as a ruler, it's literally one who leads. So a ruler will come from you. This is from X plus Eleusemai. Eleusemai is the future from Erchomai, as used in Ionic Greek, not classical, but Ionic Greek. Herodotus uses this form of the future of Erchomai as well, and you will see it in Attic Greek from time to time. Who, poi mane, notice the accent, this is future, who will shepherd my people Israel. Who will shepherd my people Israel. Verse 7, tote. Now, the various writers in the New Testament have all got their favourite words, their Lieblingswort, as the Germans called it, and in John's Gospel you'll see un is one of his favourite words. John loves un, therefore. Mark loves euthos and euthios, immediately, and Matthew loves tote. That's one of his favourite words that he uses quite a lot. So tote. Then Herod, having called the Magi Lathrai, we had that in chapter 1, in secret, akribosen. Now this is from akriboo. It's a classical word. It's used in both prose and poetry. It means to accurately ascertain something, to inquire carefully about. So to ascertain is probably good. So he called the Magi, and he ascertained from them the time of the appearing star. So that we would say the time when the star appeared, literally the time of the shining or appearing from Phainamai star. Kai pemsas autus, and having sent them into Bethlehem, he said, Proethentus, having gone, exetasate. This is an aorist imperative from ex etasdo, which means to inquire into something carefully. It occurs in Plato. It's a very common word. It's a classical word. So inquire carefully, and then akribos, which is the adverb connected with this verb akriboo we had up here. So it's inquire accurately. But it's a little bit of a pleonasm here because exitazdo does mean to inquire carefully anyway, but he says akribos, accurately. Peri to paidiu, in regard to the child. Epan is epe plus an. It's a form that's just epe plus an. Whenever, and takes a subjunctive, you might find him. Ap angelete moi, report back, that's the apa here, to me. Hoppos, and this will be the subjunctive here. It looks like a future, but it's probably subjunctive here. After hoppos, hina is more common in the New Testament in Biblical Greek, but hoppos are still there in better authors. Luke often uses hoppos. So in order that cargo for kai ego, I also having come, I might worship him, from proskuneo. And this will be a subjunctive form. Hoi de accusantes tu basileus e paruthe san kai idu ho aster honedin ente anatale proegen autus heos elthon estate epano huen topaidion. And they, having heard the king. Now, verbs of hearing take a genitive in good Greek, and this is correct form here. So, having heard, they having heard the king, they went, kai idu, and behold the star, ho aster, which they saw in the east, led them ahead, for the pro here, this is ago here, led them ahead, Heos, until having come, estathe, this is from histemi, it stood. Epano, above, and it's epano, you've got to supply something like topu here, above the place where. So above the place where the child was. Idontes de to astera, ekare san karan megalen sfodra. And having seen the star, literally they rejoiced a great joy. Sfodra, exceedingly. Now this again is Hebraic idiom. This use of sfodra occurs about 7 times in Matthew, but only once in Mark and Luke. It answers to that Hebrew word maud, which is just simply used to do something excessively or amazingly or continually or greatly. So when they saw the star, they rejoiced greatly, we would say, but it's a Hebraism. They rejoiced a great joy, sfodra, greatly, exceedingly. And having come into the house, they saw Topaidion, the child, literally the boy, Meta Maria, with Mary his mother. With Mary his mother. Kai pesontes, this is the aorist participle from pipto, pesunoi, epeson, peptoka are the principal parts. Pipto, again we've got that pi in front of pipt, is an old reduplicated present in Indo-European verbs, and the real root of it is pt, which the root in there is pes, which turns up when you get to the aorist, and you'll see it in the future, and then disappears back when you form the perfect in peptoka. Anyway, having fallen on the ground, understood, having fallen down, prosekunesan, aorist from proskuneo, they worshipped him, it takes a dative. Kai anoixantes, future aorist participle from anoigo, and having opened literally their treasures, probably their treasure boxes, their treasuries, and it's plural. Pros enenkan, this is from prosphero, it's a weak aorist from prosphero, which can be either strong or weak in Biblical Greek, and they gave to him, they they offered or put forward to him Dora gifts, gold and Lebanon, incense and smernan and myrrh. Kai crematistentes cat ona me apocampsi pros heroidain di alles hodu anachoresan esten koran auton. Now, crematisto is a funny verb. It originally meant to do business, and it's so used in that sense in the Septuagint. For example, in 1 Kings 18:7, you see this verb in the sense of to do business. It then came to mean to refer to divine business, that is, God's dealing with men, and hence when God deals with men, there's often a warning involved, and hence the word came to mean, and this is a post-Septuagintal meaning, it came to mean to warn, which it does here, but this apparently appears to be post-Septuagintal. It's a very late usage, but it is frequent in writers such as Diodorus Siculus and Plutarch. The noun appears in the Septuagint as a possible neologism, meaning an oracular response. So here it's being warned. So being warned off in a dream, may not, and we get an infinitive from anacampto here, which is to return. Anacampto, it's common enough in Herodotus, not to return to Herod. Anachoresan from anachorio, to withdraw. Through or by mean or through another road, literally, so by another direction, in another direction, by another road, into their own land. So that's the first half of chapter 2, and we'll continue this in the next video.